Taylor Smith, back again with the Week 12 edition of the Super Bowl 54 Stockwatch. The three teams on the rise this week are the Ravens, Bills, and the Raiders. The Ravens crushed the Texans 41-7 at home last week in what was billed as the biggest game of the week. Houston never looked competitive in that game. The Ravens are now 8-2 on the year, second best record in the AFC, easily in control of the AFC North. Their odds have skyrocketed to plus 450 to win Super Bowl 54, which gives them the second best odds of any team behind only New England. They have an inside track to a first-round bye in the playoffs. I think they're obviously a contender. They are the hottest team in the NFL with 6 straight wins. And I think there's still meat on the bone at plus 450. So I would be all over those betting odds because they might only get worse from here. The Bills are now 7-3 after going into Miami and beating the Dolphins for the second time on the season last week. They have plus 8,000 odds to win Super Bowl 54, which gives them worse odds than the Rams, Texans, Colts, Eagles, and Raiders, despite Buffalo having a better record than all of those teams. I know they haven't played anyone. The schedule's been weak, but all they can do is play the teams on their schedule, and they've gotten wins doing that. They'll have a chance to make a statement with a few games down the stretch of the season. They do have some tough opponents coming up. If Buffalo picks up some wins there, I think their odds are only going to get less favorable from here. So jumping on them at plus 8,000, I think, is a decent value bet. And the Raiders are 6-4 after beating the Bengals at home this past week. They have the second best record in the AFC West, just a half game behind the Chiefs. The Chiefs are off this week, but the two will play a head-to-head matchup at Arrowhead Stadium in Week 13. If the Raiders go into New York and beat the Jets this weekend, the teams will have the same record, which gives Oakland a great chance to win the division. They are plus 5,000 to win the Super Bowl right now. I just think this is a numbers play. The AFC is weak in general. Oakland has shown that they can hang with the big boys, I think, so plus 5,000 is a pretty good value as well. The three teams trending in the wrong direction this week are the Texans, Panthers, and Rams. Texans' loss to the Ravens means the Colts are now in first place in the AFC South thanks to a tiebreaker. Both teams are 6-4, though, and they'll square off in a huge game in Houston on Thursday night that could ultimately determine the winner of the division. The Texans are now at plus 4,000 to win the Super Bowl. They don't have a good history when it comes to winning big games. We saw them just fall flat this past week in Baltimore. I just don't know at this point how you can expect a team like that to string together wins on the road against teams like New England, Baltimore, or Kansas City in the playoffs. I think their odds should be a little longer than they currently are, so I think I'm out on the Texans at plus 4,000. The Panthers got smacked 29-3 at home by the lowly Falcons to fall to 5-5. I think that's a death knell for their Super Bowl hopes. I was into the Panthers as a value bet before the season, but the injury to Cam Newton has just kind of killed that for me. Kyle Allen threw 4 interceptions without a touchdown this past week. They're now 9th in the NFC. They have to leapfrog 3 other teams just to get into the second wildcard spot. As great as Christian McCaffrey is, I just don't think they can rebound from that. I don't think you can lose a game at this point of the season at home to a team like Atlanta and be taken seriously as a potential Super Bowl winner. Their odds have dipped to plus 10,000, which I think tells you all you need to know. And the Rams beat the Bears this past week. I know they won their game and they're 6-4, but it was not a convincing win in the least. The Bears are a struggling team, but the Rams still had a hard time putting them away. I'm not sure what happened to LA, but the best offense in the NFL last season has looked nothing of the sort this season. They're now in 3rd in the NFC West. They still have a chance to make the playoffs, but they have the Niners and Seahawks well ahead of them already in the division, which means the Rams are going to have to settle for a wild card if they do make it. I don't think plus 3,300 is enough value for that team right now. The Rams just haven't looked like the team we saw last season. I think they'll be lucky just to make the playoffs at this point, and I don't think they're a good value bet to win the Super Bowl at all. That'll do it for this week, and be sure to check back next week for the Week 13 edition of the Super Bowl 54 Stockwatch, and be sure to subscribe to the Odds On Favorites YouTube channel for all the latest from gamblingsites.org.